the thing that I want you to understand, we are in the archaeological side of Philippi. This is the theater of Philippi, which is one, in Greek it's not Philippi, it's Philippi. Okay, when we write O and I in Greek, it's E, so it's Philippi. This is the name of the city. So, as I told you, when we were in the baptistry, Apostle Paul reached Neapolis and he came straight here to Philippi. So you have to imagine that Kavala is this destination, this way. So he entered exactly like we did today. And we're going to try to have an idea of how was the city when he came here. What did he see in the city when he came here? One of the few things in the side, which are exactly like they were when Apostle Paul came here, was this theater. Because this theater was built in the time of Philip, the 4th century BC. It's one of the older structures of the city, the ancient Greek theater. So when Apostle Paul came here in the Roman ages, it was still in use. The theater was built in the 4th century by King Philip. And what is the difference between the Greek theater and the Roman theater? There were many differences. The shape was exactly the same. The main difference was that some parts of the theater in the Roman ages became bigger in size. So every ancient theater was separated in 3 parts. The place for the spectators, which was called kilon, which in Greek means semicircular. This rounded floor in the middle was the orchestra, which was the place for the dancers and singers, the people who were dancing and singing. And there was a stage, which is behind you, for the actors. So the actors were not playing here. Okay, it was the choros, the dancing people who were staying here, the people who were dancing and singing. The actors were here. So when it was an ancient Greek theater, the 4th century BC, it was a low stage. When the Romans came, when it became a Roman colony, it became a 3-storied, 3-floor stage, and the actors were playing on top of it. Okay, so another change that came during the Roman ages was that they turned the theater into an arena for wild animals. So they kept the animals down there underneath the stage, and there was an underground corridor, and the animals came straight in the middle of the corridor, and they were fighting with each other. We're talking about the 2nd century AD. So as I told you, when we were in the baptistry, this city was founded in the 4th century BC. In 360, there were colonies that came from the island which is opposite of Kavala. They founded the city and they gave the city the name Krenides, which means sources of water. 4 years after it was founded, King Philip came here and he captured the city because of the mountain, of the gold-bearing mountain. You can see the whole mountain. Here it reaches the 2,500 meters in height and was one of the main sources of gold for this region. Which is the region that we are now? Do you know how is the name of this region? Philippi is the name of the town. The whole periphery? Neapolis is the town. The whole periphery, the big part, is the province of Macedonia. So this region is called Macedonia here in northern Greece. I guess you know that there is another country which has the name Northern Macedonia, which is not part of Greece. So Macedonia is part of Greece. It's one of the 9 geographical regions, let's say, of Greece. So the capital of this region is Thessaloniki, the city that we're going to drive later. So Macedonia, this is Greek, one of the Greek regions here in northern Greece, which is divided in Central, Western and Eastern Macedonia. Okay, and even in that time it was called Macedonia. This name Macedonia comes from the ancient kingdom of King Philip and Alexander the Great. They were the kings of Macedonia. Alexander the Great was the king of Macedonia, and his father, I'm going to tell you about him on the way tomorrow to Veria, because we're going to pass from the palace, from the place where he was born and he was buried. So we're going to explain everything about King Philip tomorrow. He was one of the most important kings of ancient Greece. He changed many things. I'm going to tell you tomorrow what were the things that he changed. The acoustics here are very good because of the underground corridor that was used for the animals. The capacity of the theater is 12,000 people, and there are many festivals that are held here every spring and summer with theatrical plays of ancient Greek writers, and they attract a lot of Greeks who come here to watch these plays here in the ancient theater of Philippi. So this is the oldest monument that we're going to see in the whole site, which is a big one. So we're going to go and find some seats. I'm going to tell you more information about the history of this area. You have to imagine that Apostle Paul walked from he passed through the theater, he saw the theater, and he went down to find either a synagogue, because he didn't know if there was a synagogue, or the place for the agora. As you know, Apostle Paul went to the Jews first. After the Jews, where he wanted to talk? Which were the people that he always wanted to talk after the Jews? Of course, they were Greek and Romans because it was a Roman colony, but it was also the Gentiles. The Gentiles. So where would he find the Gentiles? To the agora, to the market, which was the main meeting place. So first the Jews. Why the Jews first? Because they believed that there was a Messiah, something. Okay. Yeah, they believed they had common beliefs. So he wanted to talk to the Jews. It was easier for him to talk to the Jews first. And then he spoke to the Gentiles. And there were plenty of Gentiles in this city. Okay.